Semojo Homestead. I am Cass, this is Jeremy, and welcome to our homestead. Today we are working in the garden and we have some tips for you if you battle a major bug in the south.
Yeah, not a fun one, and it is already hitting here in South Carolina.
I was hoping we'd get it a little bit of like beginning of the summer harvest time before it happened, but I saw its damage for the first time today.
Yeah, so this video is motivated and inspired because I was actually on a project this week and they have a backyard garden and I noticed it on their squash plant as well. So there's your hint.
Yes.
But we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. We want to talk about squash vine borers. They are, I call them the bane of every southern gardener's existence. Horrible things. Now there are people out there, there's videos out there that will claim, you know, get rid of them, never worry about them ever again, all this stuff. Personally, guys, I don't buy that. I would not trust any video personally. Now, that's only because we have not found any of those methods to be 100% effective.
Some things you're going to look for as like signs that squash vine borers are in your plants. The first would be these lower leaves will wilt. The squash vine borer moth comes to your garden. It lays a single egg on your plant. That vine borer larva will get into your plant at the base of the plant and start eating, and we can always tell because the lower leaves are wilting. The other thing you want to look for is a single egg or like maybe two. So I don't know how well you can see this, but there is one single little dot on this squash blossom. It is rust color, and like I said, it's just one egg, and you know that you have a squash vine borer egg there. So what I've done today is I've gone through, looked at all these blossoms that have eggs on them, and I've cut them off. We have plenty of male blossoms. I'm not worried about it. They also will leave an egg sometimes on the underside of a leaf. I have not seen that as often, but you do want to check your leaves because they will leave one there.
We have tried several different methods. Probably the most effective and hands-off way that we have done is by covering it with frost cloth. Obviously, we're not trying to protect it from frost, but what it does is cover those plants in the morning and in the evening. So essentially what we would do is we would cover all of the plants in the evening or before it got to evening and leave the cover on overnight. Once the sun came up, we would remove that cover because the squash vine borer moth that comes, obviously lays the eggs, it's the adult version of it, comes out or is most active in the evening and in the morning. It kind of in sort of that twilight period. So by doing that, we would cover those plants and they would not find them. We would uncover them during the day so that the pollinators could get to them and pollinate them. Now, that was, as I said, pretty effective, but that was when we had our squash planted in straight rows. We got it planted back here in the spiral and we can't really do that. Not nearly as easy as it was then. The other thing with that is you've got to make sure you're doing it before those squash vine borers come out and get active. For us here in the Midlands of South Carolina, they typically start around the middle of May. So we are on high alert. Cass is going to show you another method that we have done that we have found to be almost just as effective. So here she is.
So what we do is we, there are bacteria that actually eat soft-bodied insects, and BT is one. I'm probably going to say this wrong, but I think it's spinoside or something. It's a fermented bacteria, basically. That's what we are using. We have a concentrate, you dilute it, we put it in a syringe, and we're going to shoot up our plants. So, basically, these borers chew into the plant and consume the plant on the inside, which kills your plant, but this bacteria kills any soft-bodied insect that chews on your plant. This is for organic gardening. It is organic. It is a bacteria that occurs in nature that doesn't affect us. It won't affect your plants. It won't affect your fruit. It simply eats on the bodies of soft-bodied insects. So this is good for cabbage worms or any tomato hornworms, anything that is soft-bodied that attacks your plants. What you look for is they call it sawdust, and you'll see just orange pieces of basically where they've eaten the flesh. And so what you'll do, if you can find the entry point, then you definitely want to shoot it up at the entry point. Because we can't get to the entry point, the entry point is at the bottom of this, or on the back of this vine, and I just don't know how to get to it without breaking the vine. It's easier to get to where you've cut off a leaf and use that as your entryway to getting the BT into the vine. And it's going to go throughout the entire plant, and anytime they eat the plant, they are going to ingest this bacteria and die.
If you get to it too late, meaning if you really notice some wilting on it and you need to get that thing taken care of ASAP, the other option you can do, which is what we have had to do several times, is what we call perform surgery on your plant. So we're talking about shooting up plants and performing surgery. You know, it's one of those garden videos. But what I mean by that is you kind of follow or squeeze the base of it where you see that the squash borer entered, and where that thing has eaten up is going to be hollow, so it's going to be softer. So what I do is just gently squeeze up the vine until it gets firm. And I know that, okay, it's got to be somewhere in that area. And then you want to take a sharp, clean razor blade and just make a slit from that point where it gets firm and kind of go down a little bit and open up that vine, the base of the vine. This is going to feel very traumatic, but it's really not. The squash will be fine. It will recover. This is way less damaging than if you were just to leave that little nasty worm from hell in that squash vine. So what you're going to do is you're going to look for it, you're going to find it. If that razor blade didn't cut through it, then you want to get it out and just destroy it however you want. Now these things are really, really ugly. They look like really bumpy, white, wormy caterpillar things. So normally if you go up high enough, when you bring that razor blade down, you're going to slice it. They are very, very soft bodied and destroy it that way. Now, the best thing to do after you do that is to cover that wound with dirt, because squash plants will root if they're covered with dirt. So you're going to create a stronger root system and cover up that weak spot that is on the vine. Like I said, it will recover just fine, and it's way better to do this kind of damage on the vine than to let that vine borer continue to eat its way all the way up into the vine. Now, if the whole thing has started to wilt before you catch it, probably too late, but go ahead and destroy it. Keep it from becoming an adult, which will then just continue the cycle.
Hopefully tonight we have dealt with all of the vine borers, and this is something we will have to do probably once a week.
Yep.
Pretty regularly. But that to me is much easier than trying to pick off all the eggs or perform surgery or lose our whole squash crop. So.
Right. There are people who, some of our friends actually, will just, as soon as they see damage, they just pull the whole plant out. We don't have enough plants to do that.
No.
And I want to get more than 1 or 2 squash off of a plant that we started from seed. So for us, this is the best way. And as I said before, we have not found any way to be absolutely 100% foolproof.
So, highs and lows?
Highs and lows. Let's do it.
Highs and lows. My high this week is probably today. I had what felt like a normal day. We got to...
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I got to work in the garden. We went to some parties, graduation party, birthday party. So it has felt a little bit of normal in the midst of a chaotic season. So that is nice. My other high is that this is the last week of our show is next weekend. So there is definitely a light at the end of the tunnel.
There is.
Until next year. And then my low is probably that we are battling the squash vine borer battle already.
Yeah. Which it always does feel like it comes so soon, but realistically, like every year, it starts this time of year.
Yeah, it's just frustrating.
So it is. But I always love it when she catches them this early, because she's on top of it every year.
I wouldn't see it.
I wouldn't notice it until like a plant was all the way wilted. But you know, my high would be that we have baby chicks on the homestead.
Yeah.
So Cass got me an incubator for Christmas, and so we put some eggs in there for the first time.
Yep.
And a couple of them hatched. Actually, only one of them hatched. One of them was a failed hatching, and then the others just ended up not really getting fertilized very well, so they just didn't happen. But as luck would have it, if there's such a thing as luck, we had a mama hen that decided to go broody the same week that we put those eggs in the incubator.
Yes.
We didn't know this, but the day that our first egg, the successful one, hatched in the incubator, her eggs started hatching.
Yeah.
And so that one lone chick, we just slipped her right underneath the mama hen, and they are one big happy family. So that's really exciting, because we need to start replacing some of those egg layers. So that's going to be a fun adventure for the next few, really, months.
Right. And she has 6 babies.
Yes, 6 babies, counting that one that we successfully had hatched. So that's really good. One thing that we didn't even mention in this video is that the seeds that we planted last weekend are already starting to come up. Some of them. The melons are coming up, and there's a couple little tiny baby okra that have just started emerging. So that's exciting too. That's another high. I think that my low would be just a week that felt very discombobulated work-wise. It was just like nothing kind of clicked and went, and everything just felt like it was getting delayed or something would come up. So just glad to be through the week. And get a little bit of a long weekend to catch my breath and move forward. Get going again on the right track. So that'll be good.
And it was a farmer's market week.
It was a farmer's market week. That is always a high. That is very quickly becoming a high on those weeks for me. So if you guys came out and saw us, and even more so got some soap from us, thank you very much. So if you guys are new and just finding us, we just want to welcome you right now and say thank you for joining along, and we invite you to hit that subscribe button and become a part of our YouTube family, as we like to call you guys. We really do appreciate all of you who have done that, and we hope that you find this information helpful. If you have any questions, as always, be sure to leave them in the comments below. We hope you guys have a great week, and be blessed.